programme to the actor and Milligan, who died at 83.
Hello, Spike Milligan, the last of the Goons, died today, aged 83. His death from kidney failure brought to a close one of the most popular chapters in the history of British comedy. Milligan once famously remarked, "I don't mind dying, I just don't want to be there when it happens." This was typical of the anarchic humour that won him fans around the world. Sky's Georgie Arnold now looks back at his career.
Well, the show starts here, and it goes like this. Good evening. It seems to be going all right so far.
For Spike Milligan, it was the show that often tipped him over the edge. Earning £12.50 a script, writing for 26 weeks of the year, he was the driving force behind the ever-popular Goon Show.
He's falling in the water.
Whilst fellow goons Harry Seacombe, Peter Sellers and Michael Bentine recorded the radio show on the Sunday with Spike, he would spend the rest of the week sweating on the script. By 1960, the strain was too great, his mental health suffering. 12 years later, in 1972, the very last Goon Show of all was recorded in front of a royal audience, though Milligan's biggest fan was absent. Prince Charles ranked amongst the most prestigious of the comedian's admirers, and in 2001 the former Goon was given an honorary knighthood. Visiting Dulles Junior School in North London today, His Royal Highness spoke of the loss.
It's a great sadness for everybody, I think. He's such a special person. And he made us all cry with laughter, which is a great thing. We shall miss him hugely. Anyway, there's a...
Spike suffered at least 10 breakdowns throughout his life and made public his very personal battle with manic depression. The illness made him an unpredictable character.
He could be awkward. He's like lots of very talented people. He had his moods, he had his moments. If he didn't like you, he could be awful. I mean, and when he turned up to do a talk show with you, even though you knew him well and liked him and you got on as I did with him, fortunately, you were on dancing on hot coals. What was he going to be like? Was he going to be awkward or was he going to be sweet or whatever? You could never take Spike for granted.
There was more to Spike than comedy. A talented jazz musician, a passionate campaigner for the environment and vegetarianism, he was also an accomplished poet. He often used his writing to express his memories of the Second World War, where he served in the Royal Artillery.
This evening, in the twilight's gloom, a butterfly flew in my room. Oh, what beauty! Oh, what grace! Who needs visitors from outer space?
Spike Milligan, who survived a triple bypass operation in 1993, died of kidney failure aged 83, and with him ended an era of comedy that was to have a profound influence on generations to follow.
Yes, I think I've done my best with the talent I've got. Yes.
In 1997, I recorded an interview with Spike Milligan in rather unusual circumstances. As someone who works in politics, many of my interviewees are somewhat unwilling, so I was a bit surprised to receive a letter of the kind more usually sent to Jim'll Fix It. Here's what it said. Dear Adam, I watch your show and I like it, and I would like to be on it. Would you like me to be on it? Let me know. Well, the answer is we would like you to be on it. Spike Milligan, welcome. We'll start with a poem. Let's start again with your poem.
This is my latest poem, Adam. It says, I've a three-legged dog. His name is Rover, but he keeps falling over.
It's profound to the end. That's from Fleas, Knees and Hidden Elephants, your latest collection.
Thanks for the plug. I've got a better one in my bath.
Now, what do you like about the show? Because I'm delighted you want to be on it. What do you like about it?
Well, I thought you might give me some money at the end of it.
You're one of the most venerated people in the country. Why do you...
So was Bede. Look what they did to him. No, I just like, why did I ask to come on this programme? Why did I ask to come on?
I don't know, I'm asking you.
I think it was a loose moment in my life. I must have been under a hypnotist write that letter to Adam. Say you want to be in it.
Have you ever been hypnotised?
Yes. And they put you to sleep. And while you're asleep, they do you over, your pockets.
How did they put you to sleep? With a watch, was it?
No, it was a red spot on the ceiling. I was having a bad time sleeping. I forget who she was. I mean, and I went and he helped me sleep. Joe Robson, lovely man, yeah.
I was reading a lot of interviews before I talked to you of people who come to see you, and they all seem rather frightened.
I don't think I've been very good so far.
No, you've been brilliant. But why is it that people, here you are, a nice old man, and a lot of people seem very frightened of coming to interview you?
Well, a chap rushed up to me in Ride the other day and said, "You're Spike Milligan." I said, "I know who I am. Go away and find out who you are."
The font of humour is misunderstanding, is puns, do you think?
Well, it's just association of words. When they put together, they became funny.
What is, to you, the funniest thing you know? I mean, what is the definition of humour? You've just given us a very good definition, but what if you're trying to put your finger on what is humour? I mean, I remember Dave Allen, you know, the Irish comedian, being asked what he thought was funny, and he said that he just thought Breaking Wind, in the end, was humour. That was summed up humour.
I think that's an appalling, disgusting joke, and he's not funny. Farting is not funny, especially if you're behind it.
So that's not the answer. What is the answer then?
My answer is an elephant falling on somebody.
Not funny for the person it's falling on.
Oh, not funny at all, no.
So it's discomfort, is it?
No, it's an elephant. The elephant is funny. The bloke underneath isn't funny, but the elephant on him is funny, yeah. Oh, he's had it underneath, but the elephant's okay, yeah.
And who do you most respect as comedians?
Jacques Tati, WCF, and Groucho Marx. The first Groucho Marx joke I laughed at. He was in this cabin playing the guitar to Margaret Dupont, that very tall woman who never knew she was in a comedy. And he's saying, "I love you, my dear, I do." Suddenly there's a knock on the door. She said, "Oh, my husband." He said, "What'll I do?" She said, "Duck behind the couch." So he went behind the couch, and the husband came in. And Groucho stood up and said, "There's no duck behind this couch."
That's a pun again. I mean, you're very strong on puns. You're very verbal, your humour.
Right. There were no puns in the Jehovah Burglars. Just associated of two words together.
Let's have a poem, Spike.
Getting fed up, eh?
No. No, change of pace, as they say in the business.
A change of pace. If you're attacked by a lion, find fresh underpants to try on. Lay on the ground, keep quite still. Pretend that you are very ill. Keep like that, day after day. Perhaps that lion will go away.
When you started out in comedy, were you deliberately trying to do something new? What were the inspirations?
I've no idea. It just happened by consequences, that's all.
And the group of you came together how? How did you come together with Peter Sellers and Benteen and the rest? Harry Seacombe.
I met Harry Seacombe in the war. And when I saw him, I thought, that man is worth 2 divisions to the German army.
Why?
He was terrible. He had a battle dress. He's very small. So he had a battle dress where the trousers actually looked like concertinas when they went into his boots. And he had iron flame glasses. Iron flame glasses with lots of sticky And yes, that's it. That was my opinion of him. You know.
You also later, after his sort of highway incarnation, you said he was a sanctimonious bastard.
Well, yes, that got around. I was trying to say that they thought because he was on Sunday that he was holy. Well, he wasn't. And I was a bit loose with my words because he really wasn't a religious person. He's a lovely person. It's different.
Or would you say it's a bit of a humbug, all the religious stuff?
Well, no, he wasn't religious, that's all you know.
You, on the other hand, are, which would interest... You're a religious person, aren't you?
Yes. I go to church on Easter Sunday, and I think it's more a memory of my childhood upbringing as a Catholic, you know. Once you're a Catholic, you're stuck with it, you know. No escape.
What appeals to you about Catholicism? What is the essence?
I don't know. I think deep down, Jesus was a wonderful character. I think one of the most wonderful moments in the Bible are when he's with his mates at that dinner like this, and he took this piece of bread and said, "This is my body, and this is my blood. Go thou and do likewise." I thought that was a divine message to carry on Christianity. And then he saw, who's the guy?
Thomas? Huh?
No. Who's the guy that sold him for 30 pieces?
Judas Iscariot.
Oh yes, he saw Judas. And he said to the manager, "Separate checks, please."
This is the Gospel according to Spike Milligan. We'll pause there. We'll be back in a moment. Hello, this is a Sky News special tribute to the comedian and former goon Spike Milligan, who died today. I recorded this interview with him in 1997 after he took the unusual step of writing to invite himself onto my programme Tonight with Adam Bolton. Do you object to being called the grandfather of modern comedy? Is that something which upsets you?
Not really, because I'm not the grandfather of British comedy. I think that's Eric Sykes. No, he's the grandmother of British comedy. He had the operation, never told anybody about it.
But, you know, there is a suggestion that Reeves and Mortimer, and I suppose even Chris Evans and things like that, come out of, I mean, anarchic is always the word people use. Do you see yourself as anarchic?
Well, I watched Reeves and it wasn't quite like me. I wrote a series called Cure. They're painfully obvious. This is sort of my idea of comedy. There's an empty space and a door comes in. And two vicars go up to it and knock on the door. The chap opens and says, "Yes." And they say, "We are Jehovah burglars." So he said, "Oh yes," said, "Yes. And we are being persecuted by the police for our beliefs." He said, "Oh? What are your beliefs?" They say, "We believe you've got a lot of money in here."
Spike, I think my favourite bits of your work is your books about the war and your experiences during the war, Adolf Hitler, My Partner's Downfall, and all the others. Do you feel that, as history, those are things that are going to live?
I'll tell you a story of the war. I thought I'd bring witty. We were looking at an OP. I was on duty. And suddenly, the skyline went black with Italian soldiers. So I went down and I said, "Excuse me, Lieutenant Watson." I said, "I think the Italians are surrendering." He said, "How many are there?" I said, "About 3 acres."
But would you say that the war was the most vivid time of your life?
Yes, it was, yeah.
The one you think about more than any other?
Yes, I suppose, yes, it was. terrible experience. And I broke down in it, you know. I went bomb happy, and they took me away.
That was where in Italy?
I was lying on a slope on a hill, and a mortar bomb or something came and blew me up in the air. If I'd have known what I was doing, I should have stayed up.
Why did you do it, in a sense? I mean, you are a very pacific person. Did you ever think about becoming a conscientious objector and saying, I'm not going to fight, I'm not going to go along with it?
Well, I had thought of being a conscientious objector, but my mother said, what do the neighbours think? So I didn't let them think, so I went off to war, yeah. The best moment was saying, I was in charge of a lorry load of Italian officers, and I got all their watches off them, they were up my arm, up here. And then one says, excuse the police, where they is sending us? And I said, Bexhill-on-Sea. So he turned to the other side, sono andato a Bexhill-on-Sea. I wonder whatever became of them. I often wonder when I'm in an Italian restaurant whether I've shot the head waiter's uncle.
You did actually kill people?
Oh yeah, that's what we were there for. That's what I was told.
Well, that your purpose was to defeat the enemy and therefore that involved in killing them? Yeah,
yeah.
And did you...
But mind you, there were times when I think we weren't going to win the war. I mean, Lieutenant Bowman Smart said, look, get in the Brent carrier, we're going to go and look for a new OP. So we drove along, and if you're an old soldier, as I was by then, you get very suspicious in your area which is not safe. And he stopped in this not safe area. And he's looking at this, we had his pipe on, and I heard a noise. And there on the hill were two German paratroopers with their hands up. And he said, what's going on? I said, there's a couple of German paratroopers here, sir. I think they want to give themselves up. He said, well, tell them we haven't got the facilities. So I thought, oh Christ, we're not going to the war. He said, well, tell them to go away. I said, I don't speak German. He said, oh, come here, hold my back. He went over to them and he went, shoo, shoo.
It's something very difficult for someone of my age who's never been involved in a war to understand. When you're there and you've been told your job is to kill the enemy, what do you actually think about the enemy as an ordinary soldier, not someone who's kind of involved in that?
We didn't think. We were naive. We'd never fired a gun or anything like that. So that had to happen. And then when it happened, you weren't thinking much about him. You want to shoot the bastard and stop him coming for you, yeah.
What are you most proud of?
Do you know, I really don't know, Adam.
Your children, perhaps?
Well, yes, they're a thing apart. And I was in the loo one day. There was a knock on the door. I said, who's there? And this voice said, it's somebody else. And then I sort of realized we are all somebody else. You are somebody else. All these lads are somebody else. And we always will be somebody else. You can't get rid of that.
Do you think you deserve it? In that sense?
Deserve what?
When people honour your fame, your celebrity...
I generally don't have any ego for that. I haven't got a showbiz ego. It's very nice when they want to take your autograph and all that, you know.
How about being known as a mentor of Prince Charles? Is that a cause of congratulation or commiseration, do you think?
I'm not a mentor, you know.
You don't see yourself...
I'm his insulter, as you know.
Well, you called him a grovelling bastard.
Yes, yes. Well, look, I don't know why that slipped that. They were reading this letter from him, and you are brilliant and one of the most brilliant men in the world. And this was going on and on. And I couldn't stand it anymore. And I was the grovelling little bastard.
But I mean, when you're being honoured, you must feel, I've really done something with my life.
When I'm honoured?
Yeah, well, like that moment when the future king is, a letter from the future king is being read out of all your achievements, you must feel...
You see, I'm not big enough to take it. I don't have a... Oh, that's me. My mother would love it. Oh, son, she's so proud of you. And your father was alive. He'd be so proud of you.
Did your parents call you Spike? Is that...
No, Terry.
Where did that come from?
I baptised Terence.
Yeah. So when did you become Spike?
In the bloody army. That's it. You're lumbered. If you're Murphy, you're Spud. If you're Taffy,
Yeah.
If you're Jones, you're Taffy. I'm having difficulty with this.
Yeah, but why does Spike go with Milligan?
I've no idea. Spud with Murphy. I've no idea. Don't ask. My father was called Spike.
And have you done what you like to do in your life? What more would you like to do in your life, do you think?
I'd like to go on writing books and poetry.
Are you still working through the classics?
Yes, I've just finished Robin Hood, and he's dying, and he asks for his bow and his arrow, and he says, wherever this arrow lands, I want to be buried. And it lands on top of a police car.
Time for one more poem.
One more, right. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow, till you find your knackered. My name is Fred Fanakapan. I walk about the town, sometimes with my trousers up, and sometimes with them down. And when they were up, they were up, and when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, he was arrested.
Well, Spike Milligan, was it worth the trip?
Do you know, I'm not fulfilled. That's the truth.
You're not fulfilled in what sense?
That this was a successful interview.
You don't think it was?
Do you?
I think it was very successful. It was...
You amateur.
Well, the show starts here, and it goes like this. Good evening. It seems to be going all right so far.
He's falling in the water.
God, that was an impossible introduction.
Listen, Buckingham Palace is just up the road, and she's in. Go and get her.
He could be awkward. He's like lots of very talented people. He had his moods, he had his moments. If he didn't like you, we could be awful.
Have you enjoyed your day?
Yes, I have. I also enjoyed yesterday and the day before.
Great sadness for everybody, I think. He's such a special person. And he made us all cry with laughter, which is a great thing. We shall miss him hugely.
I've a three-legged dog. His name is Rover, but he keeps falling over.
It's profound to the end. That's from Fleas, Knees and Hidden Elephants, your latest collection.
Thanks for the plug. I've got a better one in my bath.
Author Spike Milligan has died at the age of 83. One of Britain's most respected comic performers, he was known to millions as one of the founding members of the Goons, who helped redefine comedy programs for a generation. Our reporter Andrew Burrows looks back at his career.
Spike Milligan called himself a clown. He was a master of the surreal, whose humour was anarchic, spontaneous and frequently unexpected. But the acclaimed comedian and solo performer on television ironically suffered from profound depression. Born in India, the son of an Irish army sergeant, he sailed home to Britain at 15. He was troubled least by depression during army service in World War II, though he later suffered from shell shock. Already writing and performing in the army, it was the Goons on radio which made him a star in the 1950s, along with Peter Sellers and Harry Seacombe.
1940.
1941.
49 BC. Ow! 1941.
1941. Any advance on 41?
There was no advance in 41. The war was a veritable stalemate.
Was it, mate?
Yes, mate.
I mean, he broke the mould of comedy in a way. The Goons was so new and innovative and original, and a lot of people didn't know what was happening, but he took humour into the realm of the surreal, fantastical. And his great gift was that he'd take you down a line of logic, and then suddenly he'd branch off at a tangent, which was so original.
In 1972, Milligan and his fellow Goons reassembled for one last show, resurrecting much-loved characters like Eccles and Bluebottle.
Why do you not open the door?
Okay, I'll look. How do you open the door?
You turn the knob on your side.
I haven't got a knob on my side.
The manic world of the Goons was Milligan's creation, but the pressures of its success led to a broken marriage and nervous breakdowns. There was a private life interviewers couldn't reach.
I once got him talking about his family, and he mentioned his father, and I said, your father had an influence on your life, and Spike said, seriously, a very profound and deep influence. And I thought, good. I said, how? He said, he was a lunatic. And now from that point on, I mean, he's got the interview, he's done the interview over, and there's chaos and anarchy in the studio, and that's exactly what he wanted.
Beneath the clowning lay a profoundly serious, deeply pessimistic and often melancholy man. It didn't stop him becoming a highly successful children's writer.
What is a bongaloo, Daddy? A bongaloo sansenai is a tall bag of cheese plus a Chinaman's knees and the leg of a nanny goat's eye.
Prince Charles paid tribute to Spike today with a quiet confession.
Such a special person. Made us all cry with laughter.
Often Milligan seemed to prefer animals to people, and animal rights was among several causes he later took up, along with the environment and population control. Since his army days, he'd been a talented jazz pianist and trumpeter. Some saw a connection between the improvisational methods of jazz and his whimsical comic style. Spike Milligan often regretted he hadn't become a serious musician or artist, but if he had, millions would have missed out on his inspired creative lunacy.
Remembering Spike Milligan.
Milligan, who died today at the age of 83. He said he made us all cry with laughter. Milligan was the last surviving member of the Goons, and he inspired generations of comedians with his uniquely absurd sense of humour. Our media and arts correspondent Nina Nanar looks back at his life.
He became a boyhood fan of Spike Milligan and later a friend. Today, the Prince of Wales, visiting a school in North London, paid his own tribute.
No, I mean, it's great sadness for everybody. I think. He's such a special person. And he made us all cry with laughter, which is a great thing. We shall miss him hugely.
Spike Milligan was a renowned writer. He was the author of dozens of books. He was a poet, a charity worker. But he will always be best remembered for his part in the groundbreaking Goon Show, which dominated radio in the 50s.
What time is it, Echo?
Just a minute, I got it written down here on a piece of paper. A nice man wrote the time down for me this morning.
He was later to say writing the show added to the mental problems caused by his wartime experiences. Friends say he used those experiences in his work.
He had an odd sort of tetchiness. He was funniest when he was being tetchy, and I think out of that tetchiness, which was a sort of byproduct of things that he'd gone through, he found subjects for comedy.
What is a bongaloo, Daddy? A bongaloo sansenai is a tall bag of cheese plus a Chinaman's knees and the leg of a nanny goat's eye.
The material he wrote was often surreal and absurd, but influenced a generation. Ben Elton today called him a comic genius whose heart was as big as the laughter he provoked. One former colleague recalled him talking typically irreverently about his time in a psychiatric hospital.
You know, lying there in his bed, he said, you know, every morning at 4 o'clock they come and empty the bins right down below my window. You know, I mean, if you weren't nutty, you'd be nutty if you heard that. You know, sort of. That's part of the treatment, and he had insights which I think rank him, you know, way above most of his contemporaries.
Last year, Spike Milligan was awarded an honorary knighthood. He was ill and looked frail. In one of his final interviews, he was asked if he ever thought about death.
I'm not frightened of death, but I just don't want to be there when it happens.
How do you like to be remembered?
I just like to be remembered. Full stop.
Sir Spike Milligan, who died from kidney failure this morning, will not only be remembered, but remembered as one of Britain's comedy greats. Nina Nanar, ITV News.
The comedian Spike Milligan, who died today.